The first time I saw Curtis was actually on a television screen watching The X-Files. It's funny you saying you make me feel like a natural man, because on The X-Files he was a woman. And it was just a brilliant performance, and he was submitted to me for a production of Dorian, which he did, and he's done so much else. So, the title of my talk today is What's Different? And it is a New Year's talk. I have pulled this together to take us out of this consciousness into the consciousness of a new year. So I have three questions for you. The title is What's Different? But I have three questions for you. First of all, what's different at the end of this year? What's different at the end of this year than the end of last year, or any years previously? What's different in your life right now? What's different in your life? What's different about you right now? Two, what do you want to be different going forward? So number one is, what is different? Where do you see yourself right now? Where have you come to at the end of 2012? What's different? And second question is, where do you want to be going? What's different going forward? And then the third question, and probably the most important question, is how do you expect to create this difference? So how different are you? How different do you want it to be? And how do you expect to create the difference? So let's start with number one. First of all, what's different from last year or the past? What's different? And I'd like to take this in terms of body, mind, spirit. Okay, body. The body of your world. And I don't mean just your physical body, but let's start with that, my physical body. My body shifts because my mind shifts. And my mind shifts because spirit in me shifts, which is belief. Spirit to me represents belief. So, what's different about my body? What is it that is different this year from last year? And I can tell you this, just physically speaking for my own body, you know, I turned my body around this year because I heard something in me that realized that I was believing that I was getting older. Anybody else have that going on? I was believing that I was at an age that I was never going to be able to be that again. I'm never going to be able to be as strong as I was, as sexy as I was, as vibrant as I was. We all know that's just ridiculous. But once I got that and I realized it was the belief, I went right from spirit to mind to body. That's what's happening. That's where I am at the end of 2012, really being so much more sure that what I believe creates what I think, which also then shows up in the world of form, body. And when I say body, I do mean the whole body of your life, everything that's going on in your life, your finances, your relationships, your career, your creative expression. Notice I put those two separate. Your career and your creative expression. For some it's the same, for some it's not. Your health, all of it. Your body. Now mind, let's talk about your mind, okay? What's different from last year in regard to your mind? Where is your mind this year that it perhaps wasn't last year or years gone by? And again, we start with the mind. What's different in your mind right now? What are you thinking about now that maybe you weren't thinking about at the end of 2011? What are you thinking about? Where do you occupy your thoughts most of the time? And spirit, and this is really the most important for me. What's different about your beliefs this year than the beliefs you held last year? Some people have said to me that they're in more question this year than they were last year. And I say, that's good. That's really good. Because I can tell you for me, the difference from last year to this year, I have exposed so much crap I didn't even know was in there this year. Anybody else have that happen this year? I have just gone in. We said delve in 2012, delve deeper. I delved deeper. I dove deeply into my mind and my beliefs, and I found beliefs I could not believe I still had. Like the one about my body. I literally got practically knocked off that treadmill that day when I suddenly realized that I believed I was never going to be, my body was never going to be as strong. And I'm here to tell you, I weigh more than I've ever weighed in my entire life, and it's mostly muscle. And that's because I decided, yes, it did get me to the gym. Yes, it did make me start really paying attention to what I was eating. Yes, it did all of those things, but it started with, I found a belief that didn't work for me anymore. And I changed it. Thank you, Ricky Byers-Beckwith, with that song. I am more than I have been, more than I will be. I am all that I am. So what beliefs do you have this year that maybe you didn't have last year? And maybe it really is just questions. Maybe you're in an enormous challenge of faith. That's okay. That means you have pulled up some really sturdy, interesting stuff. And as my mentor, my teacher, Dr. Walker, always said, all God's chillin' got stuff. It's part of the game. It's part of who you are. So what's different for you right now? And I really want you to get a clean idea of that. Who are you today that maybe you weren't a year ago? Number 2, what do you want to be different in your life going forward? What do you want to be different in your life going forward? How do you want the world around you to look? What do you want to be different going forward? And I mean, when I say body, start with body, I mean the body of your life. What do you want being different? What do you want different in your world going forward? Do you want a better expression of finances? How many want that? Do you want a better expression of your creativity? How many want better chances to express who you are? Do you want more love in your life? How many people want more love? Is there anybody who doesn't want any of this stuff? No, and I just mean more. That doesn't say that what you have now isn't perfect, because guess what? It is. But today, this morning, is a chance for you to ask yourself, what more can I possibly want? It's so funny. I'm asking you, what do you want to look different going forward? And I said to Dana Byers backstage, I said, your hair looks so incredible. What did you do different? And she said, nothing. I'm thinking differently. And I said, okay, you're going to make it into my talk, because that's exactly what I'm talking about today. So you are going to ask yourself, what do I want to look different in the future? And you know what? It's not about different so much, because nothing has to change for it to be different. How does that feel? Nothing has to change in your world for it to be different. Only one thing has to shift. You. Your consciousness. So, what would you like your body, the body of your world, to look like? And these are really important questions for you to ask. What would you like your life to look like going forward? How would you like it to feel? How would you like your body to feel? How would you like the world to feel around you? How would you like your mind to feel? Would you like a peaceful mind? Would you like a mind that is always certain, no matter where it goes, that your life is unfolding perfectly? Would you like a mind that always knows that whatever question you have, the answer is right there ready to bubble up? Would you like that kind of mind? Would you like a mind that is so filled with love that all you can consider during every single day is that your life is just the greatest gift you've ever experienced? Now, some of you may be sitting here thinking, how do you do that? I mean, how do you really live like that? Is it possible? And that takes us to our beliefs. That takes us to spirit. What do you want your beliefs to look like going forward? Where are your beliefs right now? Are they serving you? Have you delved deeper in 2012? Do you know the core beliefs that you have and that you're using right now? Do you know what it is that's creating the life around you right now? Because if you want your world to look differently, then you have to get on board with this understanding that your beliefs create your experience. Because your beliefs create your thoughts, and your thoughts create your experience, created by your beliefs. And what's back of all of that is God. And God is here to say to every single one of us, through each and every one of us, Happy New Year. Happy New You. Happy new understanding. Happy new decision to actually believe what you believe in a way that will actually transform the life around you. Because that's where it's going to happen. And the third question, how are you going to create a different world? How are you going to create this difference that you want in your life? How are you going to create a world around you in the image of what you desire? How many people here have desires? Does anybody have any desires? Is anyone going to make New Year's resolutions? Now, I know in religious science, a lot of people say, we don't believe in that resolution. And you know what? It's just another word for intention. A resolution is an intention. I resolve to intend this, live this, activate this, and therefore experience this. So I would like to think that we all have intentions for this new year. That we all have intentions for this new you, this new whatever, new moment. So, The question becomes, what are you going to do? How are you going to make all of this change in your world? And the resolutions that I've used in the past no longer serve me. You know, I can say, I'm going to do this every single day. But what's the belief behind that resolution? Why am I making that resolution? Am I making it because I think I lack something? Am I making it because I think I need to do this or this can't happen? Important questions. I overheard this. Someone said, in 2013, I'm ready for a change. I am ready to change everything. And I thought to myself, wow, do I really want to change everything about myself? What must I think of myself? I don't want to change everything. I want to know that everything about me is absolutely perfect to the degree that I decide that I know that. There is a difference. Change does not mean different. Change does not mean things have to be different. The only thing that has to change, as Dana Byers suggests, is your thought. Now, what I know is, if you change your thought, you must have changed your belief, because your belief informs your thoughts. It takes me back to the song, Curtis's song. You make me feel like a natural man, woman. For me, it's both. Depends on the day. Natural. There is something in you and something in me that is naturally perfect. There is something in you and something in me that is inherently good, that is inherently creative, that is inherently, vibrantly, passionately successful, that is opulently wealthy. There is that within you that is naturally all of these things. It's natural. And that natural thing inside of you, that is what will create the difference in your life. When you get in touch with that, when you recognize that, when you realize that, so deeply rooted in that, your life will change. It's what creates the difference, and it's what creates all the change in our life. We are caught in a cycle, I believe, of chasing after the different. Do you ever find that? Sometimes it's just like, I just need to mix this up. I need to change this up. And I think we spend a lot of time and a lot of energy trying to go after something different. Let me change this. Let me go after this. Let me go after that. And I call it chasing the different. But what we need to reveal is that which makes the difference. Now, I want you to see the difference between those two things. Chasing the different or revealing the difference. What's going to make this year different for you? What's going to make this career, this life, this financial situation, this relationship, what's going to make it different for you? Ernest Holmes says this: there is one infinite spirit, and every time man says, I am, he proclaims it. There is one infinite spirit, and every time man says, I am, he proclaims it. That's what makes the difference. When I say, I am, and I know what I'm talking about. You know, many times I've said, whatever you say after I am, that's what you are. So this would be a really good time to take a look at all the things you put after I am in 2012. I know I've heard a lot of people say, I am challenged. I am having financial difficulty. I am sick. I am sad. I am a lot of things that we would not want to live after the I am. Now, that doesn't mean that we should walk through our lives being in denial about what's going on. But there is an I am back of all of that that changes everything. It's a game changer. It's the inherent, natural person that you are. It's the true I am. So, if you want to change, if you want to make the difference, if you want a different experience, it is time for you to see who you are and then showing that to the world. You know, I said that in 2012 we would delve deeper. And, you know, every year when I give one of my little, in 2005 it was Thrive in 2005, Heaven in 2007. I think we picked up Sticks in 2006, I don't remember. I'm not going to go through them all because I won't remember them all. But I do know that in 2012 it was to delve deeper. And I did. I changed it up around here. I changed up how I taught. I changed up what I taught. I taught the seminar lectures because it was the last thing Ernest Holmes, one of the last things he wrote. And I wanted to move on from what Ernest Holmes wrote right before he died. When he knew what he knew at that moment, I want to go from there forward. Amen. Right? So I decided to teach the seminar lectures. Very challenging for a lot of people. And yet so transformative for all of us. And then I decided to teach The Exquisite Risk. Because there was something in that book that spoke to me and said, let's go out and risk things. Let's go out and move beyond what we think we know. Which took me very naturally to The Untethered Soul, which literally cracked my 2012 wide open. It just said, do you know who you are? Because I think everything you thought you were, you might want to rethink and go back and take a look. And that's really when so much of my stuff came forward. So much of what I was feeling and going through came forward. So 2012 for me, it was a year to delve deep and find out. And I will do that for the rest of my life. But I know what I want 2013 to be about. In 2013, it is time to be seen. And it's not just because I'm rhyming it. In 2013, it is time for each and every one of us to reveal the truth of what is within us. And we do not reveal the truth when we consistently move from challenge to challenge without resolving them. It is time for us to understand and to let the world see, but first of all, to let yourself see the truth of who you are inside. Do you know what you have inside of you? Do you know? Do we really know? I don't think so, not yet, but do you want to know? Do you want to learn? Don't you? I do. I want to know so much more of what's inside of me because I do know what's inside of me. It's God. There is that perfect place in me that knows exactly what to do, exactly what to say, exactly where to go, exactly who to spend my time with. And when I stop chasing the difference, when I stop changing the different, I can make a difference. And so can you. And that's, I believe, what we're here today to hear about. If you want change, if you want to make the difference in the world, if you want a different experience, it is time for you to see who you are and start showing it to the world. Showing it to the world. I believe that many people don't come forth and don't do what they are here to do in the world because for some reason they're afraid of it. And I always say, people say, I'm afraid of success. And I go, really? Success is what you're afraid of. I don't buy that. I don't think anyone is afraid of success. So if you're one of those people that say you're afraid of success, I apologize if that insults you. But you're not afraid of success. God's not afraid of success. God is success. God's also not afraid of failure because God knows failure is an illusion. Let's say that. Failure is an illusion. Failure is an illusion. How does that feel? Failure is an illusion. It's sort of like linoleum. That man just haunts my mind. That's Dr. David James Walker. So, sing out, Louise. And that's what it is, actually. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. It's time to sing out, Louise. Isn't it? In 2013, it just doesn't rhyme. That's why. It has to be, in 2013, it's time to be seen. And therefore, sing out, Louise. Thank you, Doug. That is perfect. And I will not make a reference to that line. If you don't know what it's from, you're not gay. Okay, so... Okay. So... It's so funny. I put this talk together and I was like, this talk is so serious. I'm sure something will come up funny. But you know what? Oh my God. So last night, somehow, Kevin and we were watching CNN and who's that guy? Piers Morgan comes on and he's interviewing Reverend Rick Warren, the purpose-driven life, or the purpose life, or the life of purpose, it's the purpose-driven life. Which when I bought that book and put it on my bedstand, Kevin almost couldn't sleep in that room anymore. So Rick Warren started talking about a lot of things, and it was very fascinating because I'm listening to what he's saying, I'm agreeing with some of it, and disagreeing with a lot of it, and yet understanding that are we going to become one understanding or not? So it's my job to understand as much of it as I can. Right. So this morning, I just was checking to see if Time Warner had fixed my cable. I open up the television. I turn on the television, and there's Joel Osteen talking to me. And I sat down, and I listened. And I loved what he was saying until it was through Jesus, my personal Savior, which then I had a little bit of a moment. I was like, that's okay. I get what that means. But I loved what he was saying. And it's like, it is time to be seen. And then they do the shot of his congregation of 40,000 people. And I thought, why is there not 40,000 people jammed into a stadium to hear new thoughts? Yes? Why is there not 40,000 people, 400,000 people wanting to hear that right where they are, God is? And that you are not sinners, and that you are not wrong, and that there's nothing in you that is negative. That God is what you are. God is who you are. And the promise of your future comes from knowing who you are, comes from saying, I am, and then following it with God. Yes? Thank you, Joel Osteen, because that's what he's saying. They're all saying the same thing. We just get caught up in the difference. We keep chasing the difference. I'm different from you because. I'm different from this because. I'm different from that because. No, I am one with you because. Because there's only one God, and it's us. It's who we all are. It's who everyone is. Ernest Holmes said, I am guided by the same intelligence and inspired by the same imagination which scatters the moonbeams across the waves and holds the forces of nature in its grasp. I am guided by the same intelligence. You are that intelligence. I am that intelligence. Every single one of us, every single day, every single moment. You are never, ever far away from the truth. And that was one of the things Rick Warren said yesterday that I took question to. Because he believes that there are certain truths, but they're in the Bible, and they're their only truths, and that there can be no other truth other than what's in the Bible. Of course, Pierce Morgan mentioned that in the Bible it says that if a woman commits adultery, we should stone her to death. And he said, is that a truth we need to adhere to? To which he said, well, no, we've evolved past that. And he said, and have we not evolved past much of what's in the Bible in order to grow, in order to really evolve? And his answer was no. My answer is yes. And someone needs to stand forward and be seen saying, yes, it is time to evolve beyond the Bible, taking what's there as a wonderful metaphor and start living another truth, the new thought. So, you are the same intelligence. You are that same inspiration. And now here's the deal. If that's who I am, many people say you won't find it out there, you must find it within. I need to change that, for myself even. It's not that I'm going to find who I am out there, but I'm going to very often recognize who I am out there. I'm going to look at Bonnie Schneider, and I'm going to recognize myself as this chutzpah woman. I'm going to look at Marcy Welland, and I'm going to recognize myself as this philanthropist, as this woman who wants the world to heal, who wants to give everything she has to make sure that children in Africa can go to school. I want to look at people and say, I recognize God right here in Lynn Wask, because that's what I am. So it's not that it's not out there, it is out there. But what's out here is a recognition of what's in here. And it is time for us to stop recognizing out here what we are not inside. I may see it, I may understand it, but I don't have to recognize it as anything other than an illusion. Because the truth of who I am does not change based on what's going on around me. Ernest Holmes also said this. He said, true imagination is not fanciful daydreaming. It is fire from heaven. Fire from heaven. How much fire do you have in you? Can you see the fire in me? Because I feel it. I have such heartburn this morning. That was a joke. I have such fire in me. I do, because I want to let God move through me. I had something happen this week too. I'm glad I'm following my notes. I had something happen this week, and I was driving home, and something had happened that disturbed me, and I heard this voice say to me, "When did you stop letting me use you?" And I was like, "Who dat?" No, I was like, I was like, oh my God, I got so emotional. I was like, I didn't stop letting Spirit use me. And then I thought about it. I thought, what I had just participated in my mind mentally about a certain situation, I took the reins over and started to think my own thoughts. And I let them go. And I said, thank you. Thank you for reminding me to let you use me. To not take my own agenda and make it be what has to be, but to trust and know and understand that I am constantly being used by God. And that is me. That is the fire from heaven. Because when I trust and I allow, the fire just burns up inside of me. And that's probably why I ended up watching Rick Warren. A man I have never, ever watched. But I did buy his book. That's why I ended up watching Joel Osteen this morning. Because it was time for me to look at these men and see what needs to be done in my own backyard. So, for the next 4 weeks, I'm going to go back to what I haven't done in a number of years, which is the first 4 Sundays of every year, I used to concentrate on the first 4 chapters of The Science of Mind. I'm going to do that again this year. Because I want to go back to basics. I want to go, let me rephrase that. I want to go forward to basics. With what I know now, understanding the 4 first chapters of Ernest Holmes' book, which does teach our entire philosophy, just those 4 chapters. So please join me for the next 4 Sundays. Beyond that, I would like you to take a look at the Science of Mind textbook. I would like you to be so familiar with what Ernest Holmes taught us that your mind is ready to step into the next chapter. And that means just get familiar with what he had to say so that you can evolve it, so that you can grow it. I don't want to be a center that's teaching Ernest Holmes to everyone, just Ernest Holmes, because Ernest Holmes doesn't benefit from that. His memory doesn't benefit from me constantly regurgitating what he said every year after year after year. What's important is that I read it every year with what I now know, because that's the hidden message of this brilliant man. So take the book. It shows you how to read the entire book throughout the course of the year. Start on January 1st and start reading a little 3-minute reading. And by the end of this year, by the end of 2013, you will be seen because you will have touched that in you that has to be seen. So that's my challenge to you for this year. Let's reveal this fire from heaven. Let's reveal the truth that right where I am, God is. I am so done saying right where I am, God is, without feeling it. And that's to you too. To my students, to my ministers, to my practitioners, to all of us. It is time for us to start living this teaching. This teaching. And, there's so much else out there to do, and I get it. And they're fascinating. It's like that. It's like a child. Oh, a pink toy. Oh, a flower. Oh, But what we have to really do is, here's who I am. Now I can see all of that from the mindset of truth. I can understand all else that's being brought before me because I know who I am. So this year, in 2013, it is time to be seen for the person you truly are, for the truth of who you are. You are God. Ye are gods. And it is time for us to live this fire from heaven, from the bellies of our souls, and take it out into the world and be seen doing it. So that, just like that woman Harry met Sally, people can look at you and say, I'll have what he's having. Namaste. Thank you. Namaste.